So last year, or January 2021, I had finished Open Your Third Eye, my I think that was my 5th EP, and I realized, okay, I'm finally ready to make an album. I've never made a full-length album. I've always put out short releases. I'm ready. And I knew, okay, well, if I'm going to make an album, how do I want to do this? So I thought, all right, I'll give myself 2 years. I don't want to rush the creative process. I want to take my time with it. I want to find my voice. I want to find songs that I'm going to really connect with in not only a year from now, but 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Because as an artist, it's very easy to create a song and then go back and listen to it 6 months later and think, I don't really connect with this anymore. Or listen to it a year later and go, it's a good song, but you're in a different place. Yeah. You're constantly changing. Your mindset is always changing. And I think for me, my experiment was, let me start working on songs now and then listen to them a year later and still see if I still have that same passion and love for those songs. And if my passion is still there, then there's something about those songs, they need to go on an album. And if those songs I don't connect with a year later, then maybe I need to work on them more, or maybe they're just not, I'm on to something new. So with Listen to Your Angel, so I started working on the album. I went out and bought a cassette recorder. I have a digital mixer, so I bought a 4-track cassette recorder. And my approach was, I wanted to make an album that was more analog, more old school. Because like I said, I love Jimi Hendrix, and I love a lot of music from the late 60s. Like, I love Cream and The Doors, Pink Floyd, and even, like, I mean, they're not one of my favorite bands, but I deeply respect the Beatles, obviously, and their recording techniques. And Sgt. Pepper, it was only made with 4 tracks. I mean, they didn't make it with a 30 big, digital mixer. They didn't have those back then. They made it on a 4-track recorder. So I wanted to make an album and play all the instruments on it myself and produce it all myself. I didn't want anybody telling me how they think the song should be written. Because in the past, when I've been in bands, I've worked with a few producers being in bands, and there's a benefit of working with producers depending on who you're working with. But I think that if you're an artist and you know exactly what you want, you have the idea, you have the sound, you know how you want to achieve that sound, there's nobody that's going to tell you what to do. You just do it. As an artist, when you're when you're catching on to something good, and in that moment you better grab a notebook.
Because you're getting charged up, and it's like and probably things start moving so fast in our heads when the creative juices are flowing. It's like,
gotta hit record.
Yeah, gotta hit record. Gotta write it down. Otherwise, like,
goes away.
It's fleeting.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta capture it.
Yeah. And I think I started working on this song, Sunrise. Started writing lyrics to it. And the lyrics of the song, I was thinking about this dream that I had years ago. I had this, one of the best dreams I ever had in my life. It was, I had a dream where I was floating above the ocean. And I wasn't, like, flying like Superman. I was just felt like Jesus in a way, like floating above the ocean with my arms out. And I just remember I was on this beautiful beach, and I saw the sun, and I looked down and I see the ocean below me, and it just felt so peaceful. And I remember at one point in the dream, this wave started building in front of me. And it was building so slow, and it was getting big to, like, the point of the Empire State Building. It was, and when I close my eyes, I still see this dream of this wave building in front of me. And as I was in the dream, I wasn't getting scared. I was just still floating above the ocean, and I'm thinking, what do I do? Because now the wave's so big, it's blocking me. So now I can't float around the wave. It's blocking me. I can't see anything. Now the beautiful sun that I was seeing in my dream is being blocked out by this wave. So I'm thinking, what do I do? And I realized, well, I can either drown and let this wave just drown me, or I could do what I learned as a kid and dive into the wave.
There you go.
And let the wave just wash over me and just trust it. And so I remember I dove into the wave. I flew into it, and I heard the wave crash down. It sounded like something out of that movie Day After Tomorrow. It was a very apocalyptic dream, and I remember the wave came down, and my dream went from like beautiful orange and light to just darkness. And I thought I died in the dream, and then all of a sudden I stuck my head out of the water and I was on the other side in a dream. And I remember waking up from that dream, and I remember saying to my fiance, I just had one of the greatest dreams I ever had in my life.
You were born again.
Yeah, I read a book on dreams, and I think what I had was a soul dream. It was a very lucid dream. And ever since I had that dream years ago, I don't remember how long ago it was, I would say maybe 5 years ago. And I just thought, I have to write a song about this. And then it inspired me so much. I thought so deeply about it, where I was like, I would write a whole album about this dream, because I felt like that dream, it's about soul, and it's just me. It just felt like I found myself.